You've heard the saying, don't sweat the small stuff. But what if the small stuff is secretly the only thing that matters? There's a force at work around you right now. It doesn't shout, it doesn't crash, it doesn't announce itself like a lightning strike. It whispers, patiently, relentlessly, until one day you turn around and realize the world, or your life, looks completely different. This quiet, invisible force has been called the most powerful in the universe. Some people call it exponential growth. Others call it compounding. I like to call it time's magic trick. And once you see it, you'll never unsee it again. Let's start with something small, really small. Imagine holding a seed in your hand. It's almost laughable, a speck, lighter than dust. Now plant it. Day 1, nothing. Day 2, still nothing. A week later, maybe a timid sprout. You could easily give up and say, this is going nowhere. But stay patient. Water it, nurture it, give it sunlight. Weeks pass, months pass. The sprout is taller. A few years in, it's a tree. Here's the twist. That tree drops more seeds. Dozens, hundreds. Each one carries the possibility of becoming another tree, which then drops more seeds, which then drop even more. Fast forward enough seasons, and what began as one tiny dot in the soil has transformed into a forest. That's compounding. Small, repeated actions multiplied by time, creating growth far beyond what your intuition prepares you for. Albert Einstein allegedly called it the eighth wonder of the universe. Historians debate if he really said that, but the phrase has stuck because it feels true. To really get a sense of how bizarre compounding is, try this thought experiment. Take a piece of paper and fold it in half. Not very impressive. Fold again. Still nothing. By the 7th fold, it's as thick as a notebook. By the 10th, it's as thick as your hand. Keep folding. In your imagination, by the 42nd fold, and remember, this is still the same sheet of paper, it's tall enough to reach the moon. Yes, the moon. Our brains weren't built to understand this. Linear progress makes sense. Exponential progress feels like cheating, like a glitch in the system. But it isn't a glitch. It's the default. The universe runs on it. When people talk about compounding, they usually talk about money, and for good reason. Let's say you put $100 in an account that grows 10% a year. After 1 year, you've got $110. Okay, cool. After 2 years, it's $121. After 3, $133. That extra money each year, the interest, starts earning its own interest. Leave it alone for 30 years, and your $100 has grown to nearly $2,000. Not because you worked extra hours, not because you added more money, simply because time and compounding quietly worked in the background. This is why every financial advisor preaches, time in the market beats timing the market. You don't need to outsmart Wall Street. You just need patience. But here's the kicker. Compounding doesn't care if you're rich or poor, disciplined or lazy. It works in both directions. If you're investing, compounding is your ally. If you're carrying credit card debt at 20% interest, compounding is your enemy. That tiny unpaid bill balloons into a crushing weight. Compounding doesn't judge, it just amplifies. Money is obvious, but compounding's true power lies in the invisible things. Take habits. Reading for 10 minutes a day. Barely noticeable. But 10 minutes a day for a year is 60 hours. That's the equivalent of 15 books. Over a decade, that's 150 books. And each book compounds your knowledge, your creativity, your perspective.
Or take exercise. Go to the gym once and you see nothing. Go for a week
and you still see almost nothing. But stay consistent for months or years, and the compounding transforms your health, energy, and even lifespan. It works the other way, too. Skip brushing your teeth once? No problem. Skip it for a month? Bad breath? Skip it for years? Compounding has destroyed your smile. James Clear said it best. Habits are the compound interest of self-improvement. Every action you repeat is a seed, tiny, invisible, but given time, those seeds either grow into forests of strength or weeds of regret. Nature is compounding's greatest artist. Bacteria divide every 20 minutes. At first, your petri dish looks empty, but in a matter of hours, it's overflowing. A river slowly carves a canyon, grain by grain, year by year. To us, it looks static. To time, it's sculpting landscapes. Trees add rings each year, thickening into giants. Evolution itself is compounding in slow motion. Tiny genetic tweaks accumulated over millions of years, sculpting whales, birds, and humans. Even stars obey compounding. In nuclear fusion, tiny particles combine, releasing unimaginable energy, multiplied billions of times over. The sun shines because compounding never sleeps. So why do we miss compounding when it's everywhere? Because our brains evolved for survival in short time horizons, spotting the lion now, finding food today. We didn't need to imagine what 0.1% growth would look like over 100 years. That's why compounding feels like a trick. We expect life to be linear. One step forward equals 1 unit of progress. One step back equals 1 unit lost. But compounding doesn't play by those rules. It's exponential. Nothing, 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 boom, everything. That's also why people give up too soon. They expect instant results. Start learning guitar, practice for a week, sound terrible, and quit. But mastery doesn't arrive in 7 days. It arrives in 7 years if you stay long enough for compounding to work. Here's the brutal truth. Compounding punishes impatience, but it rewards consistency like nothing else. Compounding shows up in the weirdest places. Dominoes, the world record domino chain, used tiles that doubled in size each time. Start with a tiny piece, and after just 30 dominoes, you're knocking over one the size of a skyscraper. Gossip, one rumor told to 2 people who each tell 2 more, spreads to millions in just a few steps. That's why misinformation online explodes. It compounds. Technology. Computer chips double in power roughly every 2 years. Your phone today is 1 billion times more powerful than the computers that landed astronauts on the moon. Viruses. A single infection spreads exponentially. That's why pandemics feel like they come out of nowhere. 1 week, a handful of cases, the next, millions. Compounding is behind revolutions, disasters, and miracles alike. So what's the lesson here? Compounding is happening everywhere, all the time. Whether in your money, your habits, your relationships, your health, your planet. Every choice you make is like planting a seed. Most won't sprout tomorrow or next week, but give them time and they grow roots, branches, forests. The question isn't if compounding will shape your life, it's how. Will you let bad habits quietly compound into regret? Or will you choose tiny, consistent actions that compound into strength, wisdom, and joy? Because here's the hopeful truth. You don't need a giant leap to change your future. You don't need a lottery ticket, a miracle, or a genius breakthrough. You just need one tiny step, repeated, consistently. Time will do the rest. And when you look back years from now, you'll see a forest where there once was only a seed. So here's my question for you. What tiny choice could you start today that, if compounded, might transform your life in 10 years? If you like this video, subscribe and join a growing community of curious minds who love to learn, explore, and imagine the world in new ways.